So if you're reading the title of this video, yes, I am doing a review on the collection, and that is because on June 20th, that is when the green collection or the green shade launched. And I honestly had no idea about any of this going on. I knew that there's things speculating behind the scenes, but I didn't really see any videos until later on that day afterwards, until after Shane released those receipts of his thoughts on Twitter. If you know what I'm talking about, he did delete it, but there are still screenshots of it, and that he was basically just saying his opinion about everything and about stuff that happened a year ago. I don't really want to get into it just because there's just so much that we really don't know that happened behind the scenes. But what I'm trying to say is this will be my very last time reviewing any of his products. And I really was kind of skeptical on recording this, but I think some of you would be interested just to see the quality and what kind of products that he put out there, the quality and just the packaging and stuff. But I am very, very disappointed because I did look up to him a lot, and I just thought that the whole series on creating his own makeup brand and stuff was just really inspiring, because I'm going to be making my own small little homemade makeup brand in the future. And so because of that, I just really looked up to him because he really kind of gave us an insight on how the manufacturing and the thought process of creating all these different details for the palettes and stuff works. But everyone's different off camera, and it obviously is coming to light about that and things that he's done in the past. I know that Shane has done a lot of racist remarks and jokes, and I honestly did not know about it until all of it resurfaced on Twitter a couple days after the launch. And I just think it's really disappointing, because if I would have known that, I would have never really looked up to him the way that I used to, and it's just really disappointing for me to see. I knew that he used to upload some skits and stuff in the past, but I really never was a fan of that. I just knew that his humor was kind of a little bit too much out there, and it just really wasn't aimed to me. I didn't really start watching him until his food videos and stuff, and the videos with Garrett and Drew. I always thought that those were so funny, and I really miss those kind of videos. Those were my favorite. But I still really thought it was interesting to do the docu-series and stuff. And what really got me was when he did the whole overall makeup series, just because that's something that I'm super interested in. But after this video, like I said, I'm not going to be reviewing any more of his stuff. But I was a huge fan of Shane, and I'm just very disappointed in everything that's resurfacing. Yes, it was 10 years ago, but there are a lot of other things that he's done as well. So it's not in my place to accept his apology for those things. But what I can say is some of the jokes that he used to make about sexual assault and the whole Smith family ordeal, that is a totally different level of extreme. And that's something that I don't want to have on my platform to promote. And it might seem like I'm promoting this. That's not what I'm doing. I just want to do an honest review on his products, just because I did get them anyway right before this happened. So I am very disappointed, and I'm not as excited as I was, because I was looking forward to the green shade launch for months. And so after this all happened, I was just it just seems so weird that someone you could look up to could be just so different off camera. And I know that seems well, that's not a huge shocker, but it's just very shocking for me personally, just because I've watched him for years, and I've watched him since freshman year of high school, even before then, and now I'm a sophomore in college, and it's just so much has changed then. And sometimes change can be good, but in this instance it's not. And so because of that, I just don't think that his apology about the sexual assault or any of that was sincere, because his videos were still monetized on his channel from all of that. And I know that just recently, I am recording this on July 1st, so this is the day after Tati's video, and I'm really not going to get into it too much, but just my overall thoughts on it from an outsider, because like I said, I'm not part of it. It's really everything we don't know about behind the scenes. But I think it is a little bit weird that Tati had to move twice because of this whole thing. I think that there is probably some sort of death threat or something very much that's a big deal that she would have to move twice over. I just think that it's more than just promoting vitamins and all that, just petty drama in the first place. But it just doesn't make sense how the first video she did, she was wanting James to not do the vitamin promotion for Sugar Bear Hair, and now this newest video that she uploaded, which was yesterday for me, it was now that Shane and Jeffree were kind of like manipulating her to post that video. But the thing is, like, you are your own person and like you can upload whatever you want. Like, they obviously weren't putting a gun to her head to upload that. Like, I just don't really understand the whole thing. I just feel like there's a lot of missing pieces still that just don't really make sense. And it just seems like it's a complete 180 now. So it's really not up to me to think about it. You all have your own opinions. So if some of you still support Shane or Jeffree or Tati or whoever it is, that is totally up to you. That's not going to make me hate you or unsubscribe to you or not like you if I know you personally. Like, it's literally just online drama. Like, it should not have to affect people's relationships with each other or how we view each other as influencers or just overall YouTubers. Like, this is supposed to just be for fun. This is all just supposed to be makeup to try out and to just get creative, in my opinion. That's just how I view it. So that's why I'm doing this review, just because makeup is something that I'm really super passionate about, and I just think that anything that's somewhat new or different and that does stand out, because to be honest, you don't really see this at Sephora or Ulta often. Like, it's just very unique, and I just think it is really cool, like how the packaging is, but I'm not going to go too much into it, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. But that's basically all that I have to say about it. And so I hope you guys understand. This is basically just a small little review that I'm never gonna be doing on this channel again for Shane Dawson or Jeffree Star. And there are more things that has happened that I have never talked about before, and I could always do it in a separate video, but I probably am just gonna be keeping it as is, just so it's not so much drama, because I really don't want to get into all that. Another reason why I was such a big fan of Shane Dawson is because he actually inserted one of my videos into his last series, and I just thought that was so cool. Like, someone who I looked up to actually saw my channel and the videos that I make and actually inserted like a little small clip of it in his series that really inspired me to create like my own small beauty business, which I always wanted to do, but that just like encouraged me even more, you know. And so it's I'll put like the minute mark of the video down below, because I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's just like a little clip like a second of me looking at the laptop where I'm trying to buy all of the collection. And I just thought it was really cool, because like, you know, you don't really get that too often where one of your favorite influencers include your video in like a series. I just thought that was so cool, and I actually like started crying when I saw it in the clip. It just really made my day. But it stinks because my clip was so short. He forgot to add me in like the online shoppers tag, and I'll include his videos so you can see like which part was mine, but it was me struggling to buy the Shane Dawson merch video.
That's crazy. If I don't get this, I'm gonna like break down.
I feel so bad for the kids that have been waiting forever to buy
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so funny and so cool, because like, even though he saw that clip, he also saw me try to like fail doing like my boyfriend's makeup as Pennywise for Halloween, because I just thought that the makeover was so bad to make just as a separate video. So he saw that, and also me trying to buy his merch, which I think is kind of funny, just because he was probably like, those are two totally opposite things that you included in this video, is just a mess. But I still think it's really cool, and that is another reason why like I kind of looked up to him, just because it really inspired me more about my business, just like personally. And so I'm just going to be doing an honest review on the products. So if you're interested to see how I think of the new products, then just keep on watching. Now, I also did get some of his merch as well. I got two sweaters. The first one that I got was the green one, and I was a little bit let on with this, to be honest, because when I got it, this was the first launch that he said that he was going to do like the green sweater, and he made it sound like this was going to be an exclusive thing where he was only going to sell it once. I swear I heard that from him, but maybe I didn't. But he did start selling this afterwards, which kind of didn't make me think it was as like, you know, special. So that did kind of stink. And also, like, when I put this in the washer, there was no like instructions really, besides like dry it very lightly and stuff. But whenever I put this in the washer, it literally turned all of my clothes green, like completely green. Even when I was wearing this, I had to wear like a couple shirts. Like I had to wear like just one t-shirt underneath this because it would literally stain like underneath my arms, like right here, green. Like it doesn't do that anymore, but like the first couple times I was wearing it, it literally stained everything. So the fabric dye or whatever that he used was pretty cheap, and this was not cheap at all. This was very expensive. So I am a little bit upset about that, but the other two things were actually really nicely made. Before we go on to the rest of the other stuff, I also did just get the purse from the newest launch as well with all the other green shade stuff, and it's not bad. It is pretty cute. It is very big though. Like this is my hand, and I didn't think it was going to be as big as it was. And this would have looked so cute with like a long oversized sweater and stuff, but like the actual material is very flimsy. So I know it's not supposed to be leather and stuff, but it feels like a rubber of some sort, and the texture is just like very fake. So I think this was kind of overhyped. It's still pretty cute just because of the detail and design on it, but I don't see myself like actually going out using this every day. I do think the detail on the tag also is cool, how they have his logo and stuff, but I don't think that this was really worth the money. And then I know I said after this video I'm not going to be promoting any more of his products or anything, but this is a really cool backpack. I really do like this. I think that it's super like unique and stuff, and I do want to let you guys know that after this video I will be doing a DIY video of how to like bedazzle. So I use this backpack as an example, but after this I'm not going to be using any more of his products. Like I'm not going to really try to use them or use them as an example on my videos. Maybe once in a while I will, but I'm not going to really do an overall haul like how I am doing right now. But I just want to let you guys know that there is going to be a video in the future of me bedazzling this, because I still think that this is really cool, and it's kind of creative where you can just really just customize it however you want, even not with his merch, but like a different backpack or a purse you might like that you use a lot. So I do think that this is really cool and really handy. Then I also did get the bedazzled sweater, and that is from Blinged Up, and it's really cool because I did show her like that blinged out backpack, and she did like it and reacted to it along with like the sweater that I got, which I thought was really cool. But this pig tumbler, it was around like $30. It was expensive, but let me tell you, this actually works really good. I got like an iced coffee from Tim Hortons the other day. I put this in here 3 days after leaving it in the fridge. The ice cubes were still in it. Usually if I leave it in the fridge with ice cubes in it, like with a normal cup, it will still melt. So this literally kept everything nice and cold. And one time I put ice cubes in here, and just to see how long they would stay in here without putting it in the fridge, it was still in here the next day, out in the open, no fridge or anything. But what's really weird is that there's this little tag that it came with in the box. You cannot put any carbonated beverages in this, so it's really only good for like iced coffee, Gatorade, and water. So you can't put any kind of slushy or pop or anything like that, which I think is really weird because this is made out of stainless steel. But luckily I don't really drink anything carbonated anyway, but they really didn't emphasize that, and I think it's weird because Jeffree and Shane would promote this putting in like diet root beer or Red Bull, and that's carbonated. Like that's carbonated drinks. I'm pretty sure Red Bull is carbonated, but I could be wrong, but I know for a fact root beer is. So I'm not too sure why they did that. I don't think they read their own instructions, but this is still really good. If you drink iced coffee a lot, this definitely keeps it cold for a long time. And then the blinged up hoodie, like how I said, I'm not going to be wearing it for you guys right now because it's actually in the dirty clothes, and I gotta get those done, but I have videos of it. I have videos of how sparkly all of the different like types of gems and everything is, and I do think it's a very pretty hoodie. And who Shane collabed with for Blinged Up, I think that she did an amazing job doing that because that is all handmade, and I know for a fact that is very time consuming and not easy to do. But that is literally all the merch that I bought from him. So if you're interested to just see the makeup side of things, then you can just keep on watching. So the first thing that was like sold out was this green shade. And I know a lot of people for months after seeing the whole series wanted this to be put back into the palette, so that's why it was called Put It Back. And so I actually got this with the new Mini Controversy palette, and I have the original one as well. And the outer packaging on both of these are completely the same, except for the actual like palette box itself. Like these parts are totally different. As you can see, like the reflection is rainbow on the original one, and then on the new one that has the green shade in it, it's a green reflection. And then these are the shades that are in the old one, and it's honestly not too much different than the newer one. They did switch around a few of the shades. So here's what they look like side by side, and the only ones that are switched out is the exposed one, which is now moved to the lower left corner of the new green palette, and they also just switched where Flat Earth is to the upper left part of the palette. And they got rid of the Cry on My Couch shade and removed it with Diet Root Beer, which was right here, but they moved it up and then put the green shade right here. And then for the original gloss, I've had this since the first launch, and it's actually pretty good. It has like a pretty thick, smooth texture to it, and I don't think I really reviewed this that much in my original video, but for the new Slime Glossin' one, it's basically the same thing, but whenever I tried it, it's actually a lot more liquidy. So I'm not too sure why the texture kind of changed, but this original one is a lot more thicker than the newer one. And it does swatch a little bit of like a tiny bit of green tint. It's not too noticeable though. Like if I put it on my lips, you really can't tell. When the green shade and everything launched on June 20th, this and this were the only two that sold out from the collection. And what's weird is that this one is still sold out, but this one actually was back in stock like a couple hours after. So I'm wondering if people were like returning their orders or wanting a refund, because the original gloss was actually sold out before the new one, and this hasn't even sold out yet. So I'm pretty sure a few people just wanted their refunds, which I honestly cannot blame them. And then during the time, I also just really wanted to complete the collection. I was really super excited about it. So I got also the little lip chapstick, and I think the packaging is really cool. It's kind of cool too because like the actual box kind of has like a different font and everything. It kind of looks like a Star Wars font a little bit of where it says Diet Shane, and there really is no smell to it. It's cool how it kind of looks like a bullet. Like you don't really see this too often, and this is the only thing that I have from Jeffree Star that's like a chapstick or like a matte lipstick. So I guess he kind of does this bullet looking design on all of his little matte lipsticks. And I didn't get the lip scrub just because I don't really use lip scrubs, and I just think off the main Jeffree Star site for like 20 bucks just for a little tiny can of lip scrub, I don't think it was really worth it. Honestly, a lot of these are very overpriced anyways, and I just didn't really want to get it. This one, however, like I'm really upset because of everything going on, but this is actually really cool. Like I kind of wish that they would have launched this with the original like collection from the very beginning, just because it is a really unique looking silver color, and it's like a really cool chrome, and I've never seen this before like on anything, and it just kind of stinks because I was literally saying to someone when I got this that it has like a little pimple on it. Like there's literally like this weird air bubble right here. It's like just a little mistake from the manufacturing place, but it's still really cool. Like you can even see a reflection from the other side. And I'm just like really disappointed because I know that after this video is recorded, I will still use these products just because it is overall at the end of the day just makeup. But if you watched my videos in the past, I always use one of the Pig mirrors, and I probably still will use it once in a while just because it is a mirror and I just don't really have that many to choose from. The only ones that I have besides the Pig mirror is just like a little Mary Kay mirror. So I really don't have that many, but I just don't want to be using something in my videos every single time anymore that has someone behind it that has done a lot of bad things and haven't really spoke up about it. Like, I know that Shane has done an apology video, but to me, in my opinion, I know it's not my place to say for some of the things that he's done, but for like some of the inappropriate things, like with sexual jokes and stuff, like for that, in my opinion, is not okay, and I just don't think he was really sincere about it, especially since a lot of his videos were still monetized after that, a lot of the old ones that he was literally talking about as an apology. So I feel like if he was really sincere about it, he would have taken those down and not put any monetization on it at all. But that's basically everything that I just showed you. So now I'm gonna actually be trying this on and swatching it and just seeing how well these products are made. So I'll be using the new Mini Controversy palette for this, and I think it is kind of cool, like a cool little touch how they did add that little green reflection instead of the rainbow one, just because if you are trying to get everything that's a part of this collection, it's kind of like a cool little limited edition product that you can just add with it. And it is pretty cool how they added that in with the green shade right in the middle. So first, to create a base for my eye, I'm going to be using the CoverGirl concealer stick in the shade Neutralizer, and I'm just going to be creating a base just so all of the product sticks to my eyelid. Now there is one thing I will say about this little Mini Controversy palette, and that is, even though this green shade is placed in here, there really is no other colors that could go along with it besides like the neutrals. So I think I am going to be using the Conspiracy palette itself to create some like good transition shades for this, because I just feel like all the other colors just would not complement it very well. Maybe that's just my own personal opinion, but yeah, I'm just gonna go in with the Conspiracy palette for the other shades first. Now here's the Conspiracy palette, which you guys already know already, but I still think just like the palette itself, not even the people who made it, it's a really cool looking palette, and I just think that like the designs and everything, like there's a lot of well thought out like detail and stuff, like with each individual shade, like there's different types of designs on it. I'm not too big of a fan of the names now because of everything going on. I just think that's kind of a little bit like foreshadowing, you know. I still think that this is a really cool looking palette, and even though after everything that is going on right now, I still continue on planning to use this until it's completely, you know, used and, you know, empty. But I'm not gonna just like waste my money and waste like a perfectly good makeup palette, because a lot of people, you know, could just easily just throw this out, and I just think that that's a waste. And even though like the people behind it may have done a lot of bad things, it's still at the end of the day just a palette. And because I did buy this in December and I've had it for a couple months, I have gotten a lot of use out of it, and I'm just planning on just using it up until it's completely empty, like how I said, and I'm not planning on buying it again after it's completely used up. So the first shade that I'm going to be dipping into is Diet Root Beer, and it's this really pretty matte light brown shade. It's a really good transition shade for any kind of look, really. So I'm just going to be applying that to my crease and just buffing it out using a Morphe M321 brush.
Everything feels wrong, guess I'm just in a bad mood.
So all the shades from the Conspiracy palette are very well done, and like they're all very super pigmented. You don't need a lot of the product at all. They're almost kind of powdery too, just because of how pigmented they are. But I really don't have any complaints on like the formula of the shades. I know for a fact that a lot of people who buy the Jeffree Star products in general really like his palettes just because of the formula that he uses. So his shades are just very well pigmented, and there really isn't anything bad about the actual palette, like quality wise. So that is one good thing about like the shades and everything. Like they're just very pigmented, and you definitely don't need a lot. Like a little goes a long way. Now to really make sure that this green shade is going to stick onto my eyelid and to create like a really nice clean cut crease, I'm going to be using the NYX Glitter Primer, and I know that it's not technically glitter. It's more of a pressed shimmery shade. It's not completely matte, but I still always like to use this anyways, just because I really think that this really helps me with creating any type of cut creases. I sometimes use concealer, but I really like the tackiness that this glitter primer gives. And I'm just going to be applying this to my eyelid, and I'm going to kind of pat it down using my finger as well. But I'm going to be applying it mainly using a e.l.f. concealer brush. So now I'm going to be taking that mini controversy palette, and on the eye that I just placed that NYX Glitter Primer, I'm going to be taking some of this Put It Back shade, which is that really pretty emerald green shimmery shade. And I'm just going to be applying it using my finger and also a e.l.f. precision brush. And while I'm patting this on, because this is actually my first time putting it on, I haven't even swatched it yet. And this is very pigmented and very shimmery, and just, it is a really pretty shade. And this is honestly just as good as the quality as all the other shades in the palette that was part of the collection. And so there really isn't too much of a formula difference. And I definitely do not need a lot when I'm dipping this in. There's definitely a lot of product. And then the steps that I did on this eye, I'm just going to be repeating it to the other side. Now to create kind of more of depth to like that cut crease, because it is really pretty, but I just feel like that yellowish shade is a little bit like too contrasty with this color, and that's my own fault, like just because I chose that one. So I'm going to be taking the shade Illumnatea from the Conspiracy palette, and I'm actually just going to be applying that over the cut crease and just kind of creating more of like depthness, and like it will be a little bit more dramatic than what I intended, but I just want this to kind of blend out a little bit better. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better compared to this side. I just think it needs a little bit more dimension to the look. So I'm just going to be doing the same thing on the other side. I'm just applying it with that same e.l.f. precision brush and with that emerald green shade when I was applying it to the NYX Glitter Primer. I know I said I was going to use some of my finger too to pat it down, but I actually didn't even need to at all, which is pretty rare because usually I do it anyways just so I can add as much pigment as possible. But this shade, this green shade, was literally just so pigmented I didn't even need to use my finger to press it into my eyelid. I'm going to recut my crease again just a little bit just to really sharpen the outer edges of that green shade just so it really pops out even more. And I'm just using that same e.l.f. concealer brush and the NYX Glitter Primer. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a smoked out eyeliner wing as well using a matte black shade, and I'm just going to be taking the shade My Ride Is Here from the Conspiracy palette, and I'm just going to be applying it using an e.l.f. precision brush. And I'm just going to be patting it down from the outer corners of my eye and just kind of buffing and blending it out to how I think would look best. And then I'm just going to really clean everything up afterwards. There is a lot of fallout, but like how I said, you really don't need a lot. Like a little goes a long way. And it is a little bit powdery, but I honestly don't mind because I always just do my eye looks before concealer just because of that reason. I just feel like I can't do concealer first. I don't know how people can do that. I'm just not one of those people. I always do my eye looks first. So really it doesn't bother me, but maybe for some people it would. And then I'm also going to be taking the shade Conspiracy and just applying that to the middle of the eyelid just so it gives it a little bit more of a pop and just kind of adds a little bit more color to it. Now to really clean up all of that fallout, I'm going to be using the Clinique makeup remover wipes. And what I'm just going to be doing is really cleaning up all of that fallout. And I'm also going to be just really cleaning up the edges of that eye look and creating like more of a cut crease winged effect. And you can already see a big difference compared to this eye from that one. And it really cleans up the overall eye look and makes it a lot more sharper and cleaner. And I'm also going to just be wiping down my face as well just to make sure that I don't have any black particles of like that eyeshadow shade that might smudge like my concealer whenever I'm putting it on, because that's happened before and it was not good. So yeah, here's one eye done compared to that one, and you can definitely see a major difference in the cleanup. So I'm actually going to be doing like my foundation and everything off camera, and then I'll just come right back just so we can do the blush and bronzer part, because I think I'm going to be using some of the shades from the collection for that purpose. Okay, so now that I have like my face pretty much set for, you know, bronzer and blush, I'm going to be taking that Diet Root Beer shade from the Conspiracy palette, and it's also in the Mini Controversy palette as well. I'm just going to be taking like a Claire's blush brush, it really doesn't matter, and I'm just going to be contouring my face with that. I was going to take the shade Sparkling as well, but it's just way too dark, so I'm just going to be taking that Diet Root Beer shade and just warming up my face with that. And I usually apply my bronzer and blush pretty heavily, because then what I do afterwards is take a setting spray and then I actually just blend it into my skin. So what I'm basically just doing is placing it on top of my face and then afterwards setting it down and blending it into my skin using a beauty blender. And usually I use just like it looks crazy, but I'm basically just contouring my face with powders. That's how I like to put it. And then I'm going to be taking the shade Pigment and very lightly applying that as well. I don't really want a lot of pink on my face because of that green shade. I just feel like it contrasts a little bit too much, and I just don't really want that to happen. So once you look pretty ridiculous with the bronzer and blush, I'm going to be taking the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist and just setting my face with that. And then I'm going to be taking the Real Techniques Beauty Complexion Sponge and just really blending that in. And then sometimes I do this, I don't do it often, but then I'll kind of like re-contour some areas, but with the concealer part, and I'm just going to be doing that as well to like underneath my cheekbones and the bridge of my nose and a little bit of my forehead. Then I'm just going to go over a little bit with whatever's left over on this brush and just really making sure nothing looks too streaky. Now, since I did use a lot of like setting spray and stuff and my face is still a little bit oily, I'm going to be using the Airspun Loose Face Powder again. I'm just going to be setting my whole face with it. And I'm also just going to bake underneath my eyes and also underneath my cheekbones. So while that is all baking, I'm going to be taking the shade Spiraling, and I'm just going to be filling in my brows lightly with that shade using an e.l.f. angled brush. I don't really take a lot of product whenever it comes to my brows because they're very naturally thick and dark anyways, so I really just don't do much to them besides just filling them in a little bit. Now using that e.l.f. Precision Brush, I'm going to be going back in with that emerald green shade in the shade Put It Back. I'm just going to be applying that to my lower lashes, and it's very much a lot of fallout, so I'm just going to be really taking my time slowly with this so I don't get it anywhere or smudge it. Now I'm going to be taking my Boyfriend's Purse, which is in that Mini Controversy palette, and I'm just going to be using that as my highlight for today. And right now, using the e.l.f. Precision Brush, I'm going to be applying this to my inner corner and brow bone highlight. And then using a Morphe M433 brush, I'm just going to be applying that as my face highlight as well. And don't worry, this is stained. There's no pink on it. I just want it to be pretty like a nice highlight, but not too dramatic, because how dramatic the eye look is, I don't want anything else to really distract it from it. And then we're basically almost done with the whole thing. I'm just going to be doing my mascara and everything next, just because I want to finish it off reviewing the lip products. The mascara I'm going to be using is the Ulta Beauty Maximum Lashes Mascara in the shade Jet Black. And then I'm also going to be using the Clinique High Impact Mascara in the shade Black also.
You act this way. What message are you trying to send?
So I actually really like how this eye look turned out. I think it is really pretty and the shades are just really nice and pigmented. So that's my honest review of like the formula and the quality of everything. And I do have a separate video as well of me swatching all the Conspiracy palette shades. So if you're interested in that, I posted that a couple months ago. I'll link it in like the little top videos tab too that you can just click on above this video. So I'll do that as well, but the next thing that we're going to be reviewing is the lip products. So I'm going to be putting on this chapstick first, and this is in the shade Diet Shane. And I know it's like called Diet Shane, but I really don't smell anything with this. It's just it is very moisturizing. So I'm going to be putting this on my lips. And for some reason, like mine keeps breaking, like it's very soft and like it just keeps breaking off. Like, I don't know if you can see it, but it's just a very soft texture. I don't know if maybe because it's a little bit warm in here, it's kind of like melting, but you don't need to apply a lot of pressure to this because or else it starts to like break. Yeah, it doesn't smell like anything. I will say it is a very hydrating lip balm. The next thing that I will be reviewing is the little lip bundles, and I have reviewed and swatched these in a separate video, which is that same Conspiracy palette collection that I spent quite a bit of money on. So if you are interested in that, I will be linking that as well. But I'm going to be trying one shade so it can like complete the whole look. And I'm going to be taking the shade Shane just because it's kind of like a grungy metallic color, and I just think that would kind of look good with this green color. The rest are like pinks and bronze. I could try that bronzy copper color, but I think I'm going to try the Shane one, and these do smell like root beer, which I think is really cute. And these do dry on really fast, but I don't know how it will be since I put on that lip balm. I usually just put these on with no product on my lips. They just smell so good. It smells like candy almost. So I think that this pretty much is the completed look, but I'm going to be trying the Shane Glossin on top of this, and then I'll also be trying this without like the matte lipstick just so you can see what it looks like with nothing else on. And yeah, with that chapstick, it doesn't dry matte completely all the way. It takes a lot longer, but this smells like Sprite, and it does smell pretty good. It's not like a very strong like smell of Sprite, but very faintly, and I'm just gonna put it on over it as like a lip gloss topper. And this lip gloss is a lot more like liquidy than the other one, like how I've said before. And it does look really pretty on top of this matte lipstick. And that is basically the completed look. So I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This will be my very last video reviewing any of like the Shane Dawson merch. And I'm just like really disappointed just because I really did look up to him, but you know, like everyone is different, especially off camera, so you really don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But because I did buy this stuff, and I just think that the overall collection, like the makeup collection, is just so cool, like in my opinion. I just think that all the different products and stuff just have a really cool like detail, and just they're very high quality and really nicely made. So I still wanted to do like this review just because I think a lot of people would be interested just to see, since a lot of them haven't bought any of this. But I just wanted to do this just because I did get some of this stuff before all of this went down on social media. But this is going to be the last time I'm going to be buying from him. I'm not a fan of Shane, but I don't hate him. Like, I'm just very disappointed and honestly kind of disgusted by some of the things that he used to do, which I literally had no idea about. But that's basically all that I have to say for today's video. If you're interested to see more videos from me in the future and more makeup reviews and just overall makeup looks, you can always comment down below what you would like me to do in the future. And I do upload on every Wednesday and Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can always subscribe down below or hit the notification bell. I am doing a giveaway as well as my 1 year on YouTube. On July 1st, 2020, it was officially my 1 year anniversary on YouTube, which I'm super excited about. So all you have to do is subscribe to my channel to enter the giveaway. And you can also follow 2 of my accounts on Instagram, which is Marisa Cohen with 2 A's and marisa.beauty with 2 A's as well. And that's all you have to do is those 3 things. And then for a second entry, you can follow my Glossiful Beauty page, which is going to be a small lip gloss business that I'm going to be trying to come up with in the future. It's very soon to launch, so if you want to just subscribe and everything to stay updated, then I really would recommend doing so. If not, that's totally up to you. But I'll just see you guys in the next video. Bye!
Tell me that you love me and you need me, but leave me out to dry. Oh, why, oh, why? Ooh, I thought it'd be me and you. Oh, ooh, I guess it wasn't true.